You want to know the truth? There's a reason they keep telling you to slow down, to relax, to wait for the right moment. They don't say it because they care. They say it because they're terrified. You'll realize how quickly your mind can sharpen the moment you stop listening to people who think small. The world doesn't fear your weakness. It fears the second you decide to act without hesitation, without asking for permission, without apologizing for wanting more than the average man even dreams of. And here's the trap they never expect you to notice. The moment you stop doubting yourself, you become unpredictable, uncomfortable, dangerous. That's why they push noise into your head. That's why they want you distracted, exhausted, uncertain. Because a focused mind is a weapon, a silent mind is a threat, and a determined mind becomes unstoppable. Listen carefully. Every time someone discouraged you, it wasn't because you couldn't do it. It was because they knew you could. They saw the potential you pretend you don't have. They saw the ambition you try to hide. And the truth is simple. The more you shrink yourself to make others feel bigger, the more power you hand them for free. They don't want you to realize this. They pray you never wake up from the illusion. But something inside you is shifting. You can feel it. The impatience, the tension, the pressure building behind your ribs, telling you that you're meant for something sharper, louder, heavier than the life you're settling for. That's not anxiety. That's evolution. That's your mind trying to break through the ceiling everyone else built for you. And once you step past that point, once you start thinking in silence, acting with precision, moving with intent, your entire world begins to tilt in your direction. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you stop wasting energy on battles that don't matter. You stop explaining yourself. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop giving people the version of you they want and start giving them the version they can't control. This is the power they fear. The one they hope you never discover. The one that turns a quiet, overlooked individual into a force that bends outcomes. A force that doesn't chase approval. A force that doesn't break. And the moment you unlock it, everything changes. You ever notice how people suddenly get nervous when you stop oversharing? When you go quiet, their imagination starts working harder than your words ever did. Silence exposes their intentions. It forces them to reveal what they try to hide. That's why the most dangerous shift you can make isn't louder confidence, it's controlled restraint. The kind that makes others wonder what you're planning, what you're building, what you're becoming. Uncertainty is a weapon, and when you wield it with precision, it bends people before you even lift a finger. The truth they'll never admit is this. They counted on you staying predictable. They relied on your old habits, your old fears, your old excuses. The moment you break out of that pattern, the entire structure around you begins to crack. People who once dismissed you suddenly watch you. People who once ignored you start studying you. Not because they suddenly respect you, but because they feel the shift. They sense a version of you that doesn't play by the same rules. And no one feels safe around someone who stops being controlled by fear. Your growth threatens them because it reminds them of their stagnation. Your discipline exposes their laziness. Your ambition highlights their comfort. And instead of rising with you, most people try to pull you back down to a level where your progress doesn't intimidate them. They'll tell you you're changing. They'll whisper that you're cold. They'll call your distance ego, your ambition obsession, your silence arrogance. But understand this. People never criticize traits they're not secretly afraid of. What they're really saying is simple. Please stop. You're making me realize how little I've evolved. But you can't stop now. Not when you've finally felt what it's like to rely on your own mind, your own discipline, your own momentum. Not when you've tasted what happens when pressure doesn't break you, but reshapes you. This is the point where most people retreat, where they get scared of their own potential, where they sabotage themselves because stepping into power feels unfamiliar. But you're not like them. You've already stepped too far to turn back. You're learning that control isn't taken. It's built, breath by breath, choice by choice, moment by moment. And every time you choose to stay focused instead of distracted, calm instead of reactive, strategic instead of emotional, you're training your mind to operate at a level most people can't reach. This is the psychological trap they never wanted you to discover. Once you start becoming powerful on purpose, you can never tolerate being powerless again. And that's when the world shifts. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. People speak to you differently. Doors open that once stayed locked. Not because things magically improved, but because you became someone who expects more, demands more, moves differently. Someone who doesn't chase influence, someone who becomes it. You want to know the part nobody ever admits out loud. The moment when people stop resisting you and start following you without even realizing it. It doesn't happen when you shout, or when you prove something, or when you flex strength. It happens when you let silence sharpen your presence. When you stop reacting instantly, when you stop explaining yourself, when you let others fill the empty space with their own insecurity. The mind hates a vacuum, and the weaker mind always rushes to fill it. That is the trap. They reveal themselves while trying to understand you, and by the time they do, you already own the terrain. Most people become predictable because they want clarity. They beg for it without saying a word. They want to know what you think, what you feel, what your next move is. They crave emotional transparency, and you give them the opposite. Controlled ambiguity, a calm face, a measured tone, a pace so steady it feels unshakable. You're not cold, you're unreadable, you're not distant, you're calculating. And that difference alone changes the entire dynamic. They stop trying to fight you, they start trying to impress you. And once their mind turns toward earning your approval, the shift is irreversible. They begin to justify your decisions to themselves. They assume you know more than you show. They start watching you the way people watch storms, with fear, curiosity, and anticipation. They study your pauses, your expressions, your silences, and the more they study you, the more power you gain. Attention is fuel, and when their attention locks onto you, their resistance dissolves, their doubts weaken, and their guard collapses without force. Every room has someone who controls the tempo, someone who makes others adjust their energy, their tone, their rhythm. Your goal is to become that person. Not through intimidation, but through composure. Because composure is unsettling. It forces people to project their beliefs onto you, and their projections betray their weaknesses. You learn everything without asking a single question. This is why you never rush, never over-explain, never chase. When you move slowly, others speed up. When you hold your emotion, others expose theirs. When you stay still, others start shaking. And the one who shakes first loses. That is the psychological law nobody escapes. Pressure reveals the truth, and silence makes pressure unbearable. So when you walk into a situation, you don't seek advantage, you create it. You hold your ground until the other side bends. You let the silence wrap around them until their thoughts start turning against themselves. And when they finally look at you for direction, approval, or clarity, that's the moment you've already won. There is a moment when people look at you and sense something shifting, but they can't explain it. They don't see a new skill or habit. They feel a new force, a pressure, a silent current running under your words, under your movements, under the way you look at them and then look away. This is the moment the old version of you dies, and the new one begins to move through the world with a different gravity, the kind that bends people's behavior without them realizing it. And the truth is simple. Once you taste this form of power, you never return to who you were. Most people never reach this point because they cling to their emotions like they're pieces of their identity. You don't. You're slowly detaching, quietly, intentionally. You watch your anger rise and you don't react. You watch insecurity whisper and you don't move. You watch fear flare and you don't bow. This is the discipline that turns the mind into a weapon, when emotions become signals, not commands. When impulses lose their authority. When you become the one who chooses what gets your energy and what dies in silence. And when you reach this state, the world stops feeling overwhelming. It becomes readable, predictable, almost slow. People reveal their patterns without noticing. They telegraph intentions, weaknesses, desires. You sit in a room and feel like you're watching a script everyone else is blindly following. That's the power you're stepping into. You're no longer fighting reality. You're shaping it from the inside. But here is what most never understand. To gain this level of internal dominance, you must endure a period that feels like isolation, confusion, even loss. Not because you're failing, but because you're shedding everything that kept you weak. The mind doesn't evolve in comfort. It grows when you strip away the noise long enough to hear the voice beneath it. The voice that says, you're capable of more. You just avoid the path that demands it. Every transformation has a cost. You'll lose people who like the version of you that played small. You'll frustrate those who felt secure when you doubted yourself. You'll confuse people who can't understand why you're calm when you used to crumble. Let them be confused. Let them whisper. Their opinions are the noise you're finally walking away from. Your goal is simple now. Sharpen your mind until your presence feels like a shift in pressure. Train your self-control until people can't read your next move. Build a focus so strong your silence speaks louder than their arguments. And as you do this, doors open. Opportunities appear. People start treating you differently without knowing why. This is the invisible advantage only the disciplined ever taste. And the farther you go, the more you realize the truth. You were never lacking potential, you were lacking strategy. And now, you have it. There comes a point where you stop reacting to life and begin engineering it. And the shift is subtle, almost invisible from the outside. People think you're just more focused or less talkative, but the truth is sharper. You've started studying your own mind the way a strategist studies a battlefield. You notice what triggers you, what drains you, what manipulates you, what empowers you, and you begin subtracting everything that weakens your state. That's when real control begins, not over the world, over yourself. And once you have that, the rest follows. Most people think power comes from aggression, domination, loud confidence. They're wrong. Real power comes from the ability to stay composed when everything around you pulls at your attention. Real power is quiet, mechanical, unbothered. It's the ability to slow your thoughts when others panic, to think 3 moves ahead while they're stuck reacting to the first one. When you master this, you don't compete with people. You bypass them. You start seeing patterns in their words, their routines, their weaknesses. You see how easily they're pulled by approval, urgency, distraction. You see how predictable their emotional reactions are. And while they chase validation, you chase clarity. While they chase comfort, you chase leverage. While they chase attention, you chase positioning. That's why you rise faster. That's why you begin to feel unstoppable. But here is the truth most can't handle. When your mind becomes fortified, people begin to project their insecurities onto you. They say you've changed. They say you're cold. They say you've become distant. What they really mean is that you're no longer manageable. You don't respond the way they expect. You don't break the way they want. You don't give them the emotional access they were used to. And that scares them. This is where many fail. They go back to softness because they fear losing people. You don't. You understand that elevation demands separation. You can't carry the old world into the new one. You can't evolve while staying tied to those who benefit from your stagnation. You can't grow while entertaining the same noise that kept you blind. So you detach, not with anger, with clarity. And the more you detach, the more you realize something important. Solitude isn't a punishment. It's a sharpening room. When you're alone, your thoughts stop competing with anyone else's expectations. Your intentions become pure. Your direction becomes unmistakable. You stop performing. You start becoming. And the moment you stop needing people's approval, they start seeking yours. That's the paradox of power. When you stop chasing outcomes, outcomes come to you. When you stop explaining yourself, people listen harder. When you stop proving your value, they start recognizing it. Your presence becomes a standard. Your silence becomes a message. Your discipline becomes a threat. There comes a moment when your transformation becomes irreversible. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer operating from the same mind that once doubted itself, explained itself, apologized for existing. Something inside you has stabilized. Your emotions obey you. Your impulses no longer control you. And the world starts reacting to you differently. People feel it in your presence. They sense the discipline behind your silence, the calculation behind your words, the intention behind your actions. And even if they never admit it, they can tell you've stepped into a version of yourself that doesn't bend for anyone. This is where real power becomes dangerous. Not because you seek to dominate others, but because you're no longer easily influenced. You don't chase attention. You don't chase validation. You don't chase outcomes. You simply move with precision, letting your consistency reshape your environment. And people become drawn to you without knowing why. Your lack of desperation makes you magnetic. Your clarity makes you intimidating. Your emotional control makes you unpredictable. They watch you build silently and wonder how you detached from the noise that still chains them. You see their patterns clearly now, their need to be liked, their fear of being alone, their craving for shortcuts. But while they blur themselves trying to be everything for everyone, you refine yourself into something rare. Your standards rise, your expectations sharpen, your tolerance shrinks, and slowly, your life starts to reorganize around the person you're becoming, not the person you were forced to be. And here lies the final truth. Becoming unstoppable has nothing to do with overpowering others. It's about eliminating the parts of yourself that once made you break. Once you remove your emotional fragility, your constant hesitation, your dependency on external approval, there's nothing left for the world to weaponize against you. You become untouchable, not because you're invincible, but because you're no longer ruled by things that used to control you. You learn to move like someone who has nothing to prove and everything to build. You learn to listen more than you speak. You learn to act without announcing. And you learn to trust your own mind more than the opinions that once manipulated it. This is the psychological trap they fear, the moment you stop playing the game they control and start playing the one you designed. Because once you reach this state, nobody can stop you, nobody can slow you, and nobody can pull you back into the chaos you outgrew. You've crossed the line between who you were and who you choose to become. And from here on, there is no reverse. If you're ready to break the limits they expect from you, stay here. I drop videos that sharpen your mind, harden your discipline, and build the version of you they're not prepared to face. Follow, watch until the end, and step into your real power.